CNBC-TV18.
First tick on the index is actually in the green, but just consolidating with a bit of a positive bias.
It's a flat screen right now when we look at the Nifty and the Sensex.
Nifty has been very range-bound at that 18,554 mark.
If you looked at the mid and the small cap part of the market, actually that's what I want to start with, because for the second day in a row, the small cap index is roaring. I mean, the index was up 1% yesterday. The Nifty will end 50 points lower. So in many ways, this is a repeat of what we saw yesterday. The Nifty and the banks index were lower, but broader markets were higher.
Well, it was weekly options expiry today, and towards the last hour, we saw it go towards the bears. The Nifty bank led the charge on the way down with a 350-point downtick. The Nifty ending below that 18,500 mark. This is Markets Today, a show where we track 6 hours of trade in 5 headlines. Let's talk about those headlines then. Sensex and the Nifty end with minor cuts after a range-bound session. Financials take a hit with the Nifty bank losing 1%. Mid-caps end with marginal gains. Nifty Auto gains as automakers report robust sales and growth. And we had M&M and Maruti seeing double-digit growths, whereas the Maruti sales are highest that we've seen in nearly 3 years. Bajaj Auto sale jumped nearly 30%. The government's offer for sale in Coal India is fully subscribed on day one amid strong institutional interest. Subscription for retail investors opens tomorrow. A cut in price of propane, a gas substitute by Saudi Aramco's, hurts margins of Gujarat Gas. Bank of Maharashtra gains on a possible QIP launch. Apollo Hospitals surges as brokerages bet big on the stock. Laurus Labs climbs after increasing its stake in Immuno Act. Crude oil prices reverse early losses on renewed optimism after the United States House passes the debt ceiling bill. Let's tell you what we have for you on the show. In the market opinion, we have Arvind Sagar of Geosphere Capital Management, Mahesh Patil of Aditya Birla Sun Life in the corporate voices. We do have Rakesh Sharma of Bajaj Auto and Satyanarayan Chava of Laurus Labs. Let's talk about the market's action. It's straight to the day's market action. Sensex as well as the Nifty ended 0.25% lower as financial heavyweights underperformed in the last hour. The Nifty bank fell close to over 1%, and mid-caps outperformed the blue chips. After that, the index ended mildly in the green. Prashant Nair joins in with more action on Dalal Street.
Well, in many ways, it was a repeat of yesterday. The Nifty did nothing. I mean, actually, it sold off in the last 40 minutes, 45 minutes of trade. But broader markets were strong once again. The Nifty and the Bank Nifty selling off in the last 45 minutes. It was the weekly options expiry, so perhaps you could put some blame there. But the small cap index ending 1% higher, and the mid cap index was marginally up as well. I'll quickly run through the losers on the Nifty: Coal India, Kotak and Bharti. Actually, about 50% of the Nifty's losses were on account of Kotak single-handedly. Now we come to the broader markets, and here it gets interesting. SL Propack for the second day running big gains. South Indian banks, actually smaller banks have financials doing very well. Sobha continues to run higher. Zensar, PNB Housing, Cyient has done very well in the small cap space. Big reason for the outperformance in that index. The textile names like Indocount, Himmat Singh are doing well for the second day running. Westlife, Bector Foods from that consumer space, All Cargo, Shankara Buildcon, Nuclear Software, and so many others which have been doing very well. And this is really, the crux of what's going on for the last so many days in the markets. It's the rally is broadening out, and I just highlighted the big volume-led gainers for you. Losses also, far shorter list. Torrent Pharma, which did well yesterday, saw some pullback. ABB, Gujarat Gas, PI Industries, and Rainbow Hospitals were others. The Nifty and the Bank Nifty are at critical junctures. The Bank Nifty, for example, hit the 20-day and then bounced. The Nifty also is near important supports. I think for those two indices, what happens in global markets still remains relevant. And global markets, if they're not fatigued because they've done well this year, perhaps can add a little bit of impulse on the upside as we go into the next couple of sessions. Back to you.
Take that, Prashant. In fact, a bunch of these cash market stocks, some of them you mentioned, and a lot of them others as well, moved in big double-digit sort of gains coming in. So let's talk about some market opinion itself. Arvind Sagar of Geosphere Capital expects the US Fed to take a pause in rate hikes going forward, and he does not expect the narrow US market rally to last. In fact, Speaking about India, he says that the earnings season has given a positive outlook for FY24. Let's hear him out too.
I think the market has already discounted the debt deal. That was discounted, I think, when it became clear that the two sides had reached a deal, close to reaching a deal a week ago. So I don't think that is going to have much of an effect on the market. I think this is a very weak rally because a narrow rally like this is not a sign of a healthy market. And these things do not end well. I think we could get a rate cut later in this year, but that's because I'm expecting a recession. Without a recession, rate cut doesn't happen. The earnings season has been pretty decent. I think the outlook for fiscal 24 is strong. If I take up, slightly more long-term 6-month view, fiscal first quarter, second quarter earnings, I think we should continue to see strong trends.
Right, so that's some opinion coming in on global and Indian markets. But let's get you some more market opinion. We also spoke with Mahesh Patil, who's the Chief Investment Officer at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. He believes that the returns on the Nifty actually from these levels may be muted.
And I think this year, while the overall headline top-line growth will be slightly muted because we expect that yesterday the GDP number came into a very reasonably strong numbers over there. But I think the nominal growth this year could be slightly lower. It could be to a large extent driven by margin improvement on the back of lower commodity prices. But overall, I think we are seeing a fairly decent earnings growth even in FY24.
Let's talk about the second headline now, and this is more forward-looking as far as the GDP is concerned. The automakers in India have reported robust sales growth in May. Maruti and M&M saw double-digit growth. In fact, Maruti's monthly sales are the highest that we've seen in nearly 3 years. Bajaj Auto sales too were up nearly 30%. The Nifty Auto Index gained close to 0.5%. Sonia Shenoy joins in with what's driving the growth for Motown. Sonia.
Thanks a lot for that. Big trend I've noticed is that the auto sales have been much better than what the street was estimating for most of the companies that have reported up until now. So let's start with the strong numbers. The first one is Bajaj Auto, where the stock hit a 52-week high and has been one of the strongest performers after a good set of numbers that the company reported in May. It's a 29% growth that Bajaj Auto has seen, a large part of it led by domestic growth, which has doubled, and the management is very confident that the trend will continue to improve because the 125cc plus segment has outperformed in the market. After that, we come to Maruti, where the sales have gone up 10.5% year on year. Over here too, you've seen a premium segment growth. So the utility vehicle segment has seen a big surge this time, and that's the premium end, while the mini and compact car segment has been under a bit of pressure. In Escorts, the growth has been pretty good. The management commentary is positive. Total sales growth of almost 10%, almost 9%, and domestic sales growth has been better. And the management said that it's the impending monsoons which are expected to be favorable, as well as a pickup in, the rural spends, which is something that can aid the sales in the months to come. M&M as well, if you look at it, the auto sales have been very strong, led largely by SUV sales, which have seen a growth in excess of 20%. Total auto sales have gone up by 14% year on year, coming in at 61,415 units. But on the flip side, on the weaker side, it's M&M tractor sales that are under a tad bit of pressure. So while peers like Escorts have seen a 9% growth year on year, M&M tractor sales are down by 4% on a year on year basis. But largely, if you'd had to say, more hits than misses in this month's numbers. Back to you.
More hits than misses in these months' numbers. In fact, Rakesh Sharma, the executive director at Bajaj Auto, did say that the business has improved on a sequential basis. He added that they're expecting to grow at least twice the rate of the industry. So positive commentary coming in as well. Take a look.
Sequentially also, the business has improved, and it has taken very good strides in the target segment, which is the 125cc plus. The industry is coming back since Q4, but I would say the industry is in low single-digit growth. We expect the industry to grow at about 3 to 5% in the next 2-3 months, and we should keep growing at probably perhaps twice that rate, and again driven by the top half of the industry. In April and May, we've made very good strides in the 125cc plus segment, crossing the 30% plus market share.
Let's move on to the third headline for the day. Coal India. That was the top Nifty loser. In fact, fell over 4.5%. The government's offer for sale in the company was fully subscribed on day one. The non-retail portion was oversubscribed by about 3 times, whereas the retail portion opens for subscription tomorrow. Remember, the government can offload up to 3% stake in the company, which could give them around 4,000 crore rupees. And the price at which the base at around 225 rupees per share was about 6.5% discount to the previous closing price on Coal India. But the oversubscription caused it to rise a little above the base price itself. Nigel D'Souza joins in with more details on this. Nigel.
Well, that's right. Coal India is in focus on the back of the OFS that was announced a day after the FSA price hike on 30% of their volumes. To give you the details, well, the Government of India is looking to sell close to around 1.5% stake in the company, with a green shoe option of close to around another 1.5%. So in totality, they could be looking to sell close to around 3%. Now, at the base price, which is around 225, which was the discount of around 6.5% to its previous close, well, they could raise close to around 4,160 crore rupees. That's at the base price. Maybe, in fact, we could see a little bit of an upscale to that particular level. Now, what works for Coal India? Valuations. Whether you look at it on a PE basis or even if you're looking at it on a dividend yield basis, those are positives. Valuations in their favor. The problem is international coal prices have been falling, and that impacts the e-auction part of their business, which is bulk of their profitability. The other problem is employee costs have gone up, but these price hikes will take care of only around 50% of that. That said, well, there seems to be a fair bit of demand for this particular OFS. That explains why the stock is lower.
All right, Nigel, thanks a lot for that. With that, we'll take a short break. On the other side, we'll talk about all the other headlines that we tracked today.
डायबिटीज है। जब लाइफ में डायबिटीज का डर आता है तो इंसान हर एक कदम सोच समझ के उठाता है। सुबह अलार्म को जगाता है, जितने हैं आसन सब आजमाता है। आपको बुरा ना लगे इसीलिए पूरा परिवार आपका डाइट प्लान अपनाता है। ना ना नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं। अपने फेवरेट मीठे को मना करना नो थैंक्स अचीवमेंट बन जाता है। डायबिटीज कंट्रोल करने के लिए आपने इतने स्टेप्स उठाए, तो हमने भी आपके लिए एक कदम बढ़ाया। बजाज अलियांज लाइफ इंश्योरेंस प्रेजेंट्स इंडियाज ओनली टर्म प्लान एक्सक्लूसिवली डिजाइन फॉर डायबिटिक्स। ये प्लान आपके फैमिली लाइफ गोल्स को सुरक्षित रखता है, साथ ही हेल्दी लाइफस्टाइल अपनाने पर रिन्यूअल प्रीमियम पर रिडक्शन भी देता है।
दुनिया में कुछ लोग कहते हैं और कुछ लोग करते हैं। जब कहा गया देश में सोलर पावर सफल नहीं हो सकता, तो हमने सुना नहीं, उसे सफल कर दिखाया। कहा देश का सबसे बड़ा पावर प्लांट बनाना इम्पॉसिबल, तो हमने पॉसिबल कर दिया। बोला कोने कोने तक बिजली पहुंचाना किसी के बस की बात नहीं, हमने पहुंचा दी। सवाल उठे एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली गैस सब तक कैसे पहुंचेगी, हमने वो भी पहुंचा दी। कहा तो ये भी गया पैकेज फूड बिजनेस हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, लेकिन हमने कर दिखाया। बातें उठी सीमेंट सेक्टर में हम कभी स्ट्रांग नहीं बन सकते, तो हमने सुना नहीं, बन के दिखाया। चर्चा हुई देश में इतना बड़ा पोर्ट बनाना असंभव, हमने संभव कर दिखाया। और जब कहा गया देश के एयरपोर्ट्स इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स के नहीं हो सकते, तब भी हमने सुना नहीं, कर दिए। मुश्किलों की नहीं सुनते, हम करके दिखाते हैं। अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं।
I am slow. I'm a tortoise. But your wealth managers, they shouldn't be as slow, you know?
Choose Nuvama. We move at the right pace because we only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
Policymakers, industry leaders, global energy experts, and leading influencers came together to discuss the roadmap towards clean energy transition at the Sia Fest.
Our country can actually promote and show to the world that how, as a growing economy, India is driving this transition with clean energy.
Watch the first part on Sustainable is Attainable, an initiative by Tata Power and News 18 Network at this time.
Welcome back. We spoke about the markets, Motown as well as Coal India, which was the top Nifty loser today. Let's talk about some other stocks which made news today. Saudi Aramco has cut the price of propane by about $105 per ton, as a result of which Gujarat Gas fell over 3.5%. However, GAIL, on the other hand, surged about 0.5%. What explains these divergent moves and the impact and the connect between Saudi Aramco cutting prices of propane and Gujarat Gas? Sonal joins in to tell us more.
Thank you so much for that. Well, to the news first, Saudi Aramco, they have cut prices sharply for propane by $105 per ton, and it now comes down to $450 per ton, which is the lowest level that we have seen since November of 2020. Two reasons cited here. One, that there is an oversupply situation that we are seeing in the Middle East and the US as well. And secondly, the petchem demand from China is very low, so that's the reason why prices have been cut as well. Now, how does it make sense for Indian players? So in India, these global prices are implied, or they become effective with a 1-month lag. So these propane price cuts will come in from July itself. For Gujarat Gas, propane is actually a substitute. So if people can't use Gujarat Gas's product, they'll go ahead and use propane. In this case, from July, propane will become 16 to 17% cheaper versus Gujarat Gas. So naturally, consumers will go to propane as a product, and this will impact Gujarat Gas's volumes. Now, do remember, Gujarat Gas has already taken 5 price cuts so far in 2023, and the last one is effective from today, where they have taken a 5% price cut in the industrial gas segment. So volumes again will be impacted for Gujarat Gas. For GAIL, propane is one of their major products in the liquid hydrocarbon segment, and that is where their spreads will be impacted. Even OMCs sell propane to some level, but the price cut for OMCs will not be as sharp according to analysts. So both GAIL and Gujarat Gas will be impacted negatively, and that's why they are in focus on the back of this news piece.
All right, so that explains the divergent moves that we saw both in Gujarat Gas as well as GAIL. Let's move on to the next one then. We do have Bank of Maharashtra in more stock-specific news. It soared about 3% in today's trading session. The hope is that there could be a QIP, and that's what we learned from sources as well, that the bank may launch a QIP for fundraise soon to the tune of almost 500 crores, which can go all the way up to 1,000 crores too. Abhishek joins in. Abhishek, what will this mean for the bank and its ratios?
Well, sources tell CNBC-TV18 that Bank of Maharashtra could soon launch a QIP for fundraise. So they have a base issue size of about rupees 500 crore, which along with green shoe option can be increased to about 1,000 crore. So bank may offer around 5% discount from the price that they arrive at, that is the floor price. Now, what this can spell for the bank is that based on the calculation of their FY23 numbers, net worth could increase by 6.4% to about 16,600 crores. Equity dilution could be around the 5% levels. So book value can increase by over 1% to about 23.5 per share. The tier 1 ratio can increase by almost 90 basis points to around 15.1%. And Government of India's stake could actually decline to about 86.5% from current level of 91% if at all they intend to raise the whole of 1,000 crore. We have written to the bank, and we are still awaiting a comment from them. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thanks a lot for that. Apollo Hospital, on the other hand, continued to surge higher. In fact, today's move was more pronounced than even yesterday's move when the management made great commentary. And today's move can be attributed to big brokerage. Brokerage is betting big on the stock after their fourth quarter performance. Ekta Batra joins in with what the brokerages are making of this management commentary and the valuations that they are ascribing to the company post their numbers. Ekta.
Well, yes, definitely. Apollo was one of the top gainers on the Nifty today. The street seems to be bullish, or brokers seem to be bullish after the conference call, which was held last afternoon by the company on their Q4 numbers. For example, Jefferies has a buy target price of 5,300 rupees. According to them, they expect the occupancy, or the management expects the occupancy to hit 70% by Q4. In Healthco, which is basically the digital arm, the company has guided for a break-even by Q4 of FY24. Kotak retains a buy. Target price is marginally raised to 550. According to them, it was a subdued Q4 due to lower footfalls and higher 24/7 losses. losses, but they forecast overall sales and EBITDA CAGR of 18% and 24% respectively between FY23 and FY26. Lastly, Motilal buy target price of 5450, in-line revenue, higher OPEX has hurt margins, but they remain positive on account of consistent efforts to improve growth and profit in healthcare services, cost management measures, and robust expansion in the pharmacy network across the country.
All right, Ekta, but we won't let you go still because you have Laurus Labs as well on your radar. In fact, that stock was up almost 3.5% as they've decided to increase their stake in a cell and gene therapy company called ImmunoAct.
Well, yes, Laurus Labs is in focus in today's trading session. In fact, it was an interesting development. The company is going to be increasing stake in what is a cell and gene therapy company, ImmunoAct. So they will be acquiring an additional 7.24% stake, investing an additional 80-odd crores. Remember that the company already invested in the firm in November 2021, and this is an additional investment. So the total stake that they hold in the company will go up to over 33-odd%. Now, what exactly does ImmunoAct do? It was founded in 2018. It is a company which is focusing on CAR-T therapy for specific types of blood cancers. So it's a novel way of trying to treat a blood cancer, and hence there are drugs which are under development at this point in time. So as of now, the company is not profitable because it is in a gestation period. It does have R&D investments that they are doing in order to see whether or not these particular drugs that they have in the pipeline will eventually see success or not. Remember that they have indicated that the commercial stage of ImmunoAct is expected to happen probably in FY25. They have already graduated in terms of a couple of drugs from phase 1 to phase 2, and the valuations because of that have increased in the past year and a half to around 820-odd crores. The fund infusion, according to the company, is going to help in additional supply of the lead candidate that they have, which is under development, plus also creating GMP facilities and R&D facilities in Navi Mumbai. The company says that it is a profitable investment, but remember that most of these investments are high gestation, high risk, because you don't know the outcome of the drug, but the street seems to be bullish on the fact that it is CAR-T therapy, which is expected to be a novel type of therapy to treat cancer.
As of now, ImmunoAct doesn't have any debt on their books, they're also planning to build their own facility right now in Mumbai itself, and also looking at expanding in other cities once the approval from DCGI comes. So commercial sale will happen in FY25. We don't expect it in FY24. So it is too early to predict the revenues for next year because we are in the process of finalizing the cost of therapy and how many therapies we will make, what could be the potential for treatments and all. It is under commercial planning right now. Company was doing phase 1, and we did value that company at the time is 120 crore pre-money at the time. So right now, company is on the midst of phase 2.
All right, so that was some commentary coming in from the management of Laurus Labs and good brokerage commentary on Apollo Hospitals. But crude oil prices reversed with early losses, with the Brent hovering around that $72 per barrel mark. This is a potential. This has potential pause in the U.S. rate hikes, and a debt ceiling bill could passing a crucial vote could bring in some optimism about further demand in oil prices itself. Manisha Gupta joins in with a wrap of the commodity space. Manisha.
Well, a couple of important things that happened today. One was the voting for the U.S. debt ceiling going through, and the second was the important data that came in from China, and much of that on the positive side. Starting right from the cakes in China, general manufacturing PMI numbers that came in above 50, and then China output was at 11-month highs. The new orders were at a 2-year highs. The consumer confidence numbers were not so great, but the markets did look at the tangible numbers here, and they were all on the positive side, supporting the crude oil prices, which have declined declined by nearly 10% for the month of May. And the prices are trading at around 4-week lows right now. But we have seen some rebound or a buying back coming in for the crude oil prices. The street will watch out for the 4th June OPEC and allies meeting, where OPEC and allies, which is Saudi Arabia and Russia and all other countries, will now discuss about the global demand and supply going forward. And while there have been contradicting statements from both these parties or countries, it would be important to say on what the joint official statement is all about. And not just crude, the industrial metals also some rebound today. So copper prices are off their 7-month lows. Zinc is off its 26-month lows as well. The strong Chinese data has been supportive for the metal prices. This sector as well will watch out for the US non-farm payroll data that comes in Friday, which is tomorrow, and that would give further direction to the markets, though the industry feels that we are near bottom when it comes to the metal prices, and from here there could be some gains coming in as the Chinese data is stronger, the inventory is still on the weaker side, and the supply is lower. Could be some of the reasons supporting the metal prices.
Manisha, thanks a lot for that. With that, we're out of time on this edition of Markets Today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.